Log cabins have their roots in Scandinavia as far back as 3500 BC. The Europeans brought them to America. The Pilgrims and then the pioneers built log cabins as their first shelter as they settled the land from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean. By the 1920s, log cabins were mostly out of style in Oregon. The availability of sawn lumber across Oregon spelled the demise of log cabins. Beginning in 1920, the Mount Hood area underwent a major change in land use and development. The Barlow Road, built as a one-way toll road for Oregon immigrants headed for the Willamette Valley, was now toll-free and a two-way road suitable for automobile travel at slow speeds. Residents of Portland had the time, the means, and desire to pursue outdoor recreation in the Mount Hood area, but their activities were limited by the lack of facilities. Travel time from Portland to Welch's in 1920 could often be 6 hours, one way. There were no overnight accommodations such as campgrounds, hotels, or resorts. The Forest Service devised a plan to increase the recreation use of the Mount Hood National Forest. One feature of this plan was the summer homes. East of rhododendron, over the next 2 decades, over 600 cabins would be built by individuals on lots leased from the U.S. Forest Service. The private landowners from rhododendron west to Alder Creek observed this activity and created thousands of building lots, some as small as 50 feet by 50 feet. Several thousand cabins would be built on these lots in the coming years. Henry Steiner, a building contractor, arrives on Mount Hood, where over the next 28 years he would build over 100 cabins. Henry immigrated from Bavaria, Germany in 1882 at age 5 with his family. The Steiners settled in Beaver Creek, an area east of Oregon City. At a young age, Henry became a building contractor constructing barns, warehouses, and bridges in the vicinity of Oregon City. Henry built his first log cabin on the old Barlow Road near Brightwood in 1924. It was a simple ranch-style cabin with a lean-to porch along one side. Henry would never build anything but log cabins and log churches for the rest of his life. Henry soon moved his family of 12 children to a rented home in Brightwood. Over the next 28 years, Henry, with lots of help from his family, would build at least 100 cabins and 2 churches. The majority of these cabins were in the Mount Hood area. Occasionally, he would be enticed to leave the mountain and build cabins in places like Molalla, Garden Home, Troutdale, Rockaway Beach, and Roseburg. Henry Steiner's sons, John and Fred, were taken out of school at age 16 and 14 in 1928 and told by their father that enough schooling, it is time to work. When John, in his 90s, was asked about those beautiful, durable, and lovely cabins, he could not understand what all the fuss was about. At the time, they thought they were building economical housing and never expected that the majority of their work would survive well into the 21st century. At the time they built that first cabin, they did not make any attempt to preserve the logs with oil stain or paint. But this cabin has survived 85 years without any wood preservative, although some logs need to be replaced now. As for the artistic architectural features in Steiner Cabins, John credits all that to his father. John said Henry actually did little work on the cabins, but rather spent his time gathering building materials from the nearby forest. Henry would come in dragging a crooked, gnarly log and say, "Yanni, here's the stair handrail." Steiner Cabins were economical for several reasons. Firstly, Henry undervalued the work of his skills and labor. He considered room and board and $5 a week spending money was adequate compensation for his sons. The majority of the building sites had trees and rocks they could use for free. Henry tried to not purchase building material. He would buy windows, sinks, bathtubs, and hinges, but he made his own doors, doorknobs, and often furniture. It did not take long for Henry Steiner to begin to develop architectural features and designs that would become his signature, and used repeatedly in the many cabins he built. An example of this tract is the use of logs with lots of character for porch roof supports. The second cabin he built used twisted and crooked porch posts, and this type of post can be found on all the cabins that had porches thereafter. Every Steiner cabin was designed from scratch, but the main structure would be one of four construction styles. 1. Traditional horizontal logs, normally associated with log cabins. 2. Vertical logs consisting of 8-foot logs sawn in half and nailed vertically to 2x4 frames. 3. A box style, which uses 12-inch wide rough sawn boards nailed vertically to a 2x4 frame with battens over the cracks. And number 4, the Steiner style combination, which consists of horizontal logs for the main part of the cabin and vertical logs or cedar shakes in the gables. Henry Steiner had his own cabin design principles, some of which would not meet today's building codes. He wanted the cabin to face the best view. The cabin should fit the lay of the land. Use only logs less than 12 inches in diameter. Use raw materials found on the site as much as possible. And don't purchase what you can make, such as door handles, doors, furniture, even curtain rods. And lastly, include artistic signature architectural features. The Steiner family reports that Henry never worked alone. As soon as they were old enough, he put his own children to work. His daughters explained that as young girls they did not play games much, as there were always logs in the yard that needed to have the bark peeled. On an as-needed basis, he employed his brothers and other relatives. Family friends would be used repeatedly over the years. Son John Steiner built most of the fireplaces and other masonry work. Henry's real forte was the design of the cabins. Typically, he looked over the building site and then met with the owner. He would start with a few questions, such as number of bedrooms, indoor or outdoor toilet, and garage. He would proceed to outline the cabin plan by showing room size, windows, doors, and fireplace. He would finish with a price quote written on the plan with his signature. One of the cabin plans found in an old briefcase showed the cost as $800 for a 2-bedroom, 1,000 square foot cabin with shower. Steiner cabins come in all shapes and sizes. They range in size from 400 square feet to over 3,500 square feet. Some cabins are rather plain, with few or no artistic architectural features. On the other end of the spectrum are large cabins that include all of Henry's signature features plus some extras. The most common Steiner architectural features are character logs for porch posts, sun rays in the gables, bookmarked split log doors, doorknobs and latches, naturally bent wood handrails, interior second-story bridges, log chinking with wood quarter rounds and no caulking, optional garages, custom wood furniture. The Mount Hood Museum has an ongoing project to locate, inventory, and document cabins built by Henry Steiner and his family. Here are just a few of the cabins in the Mount Hood area. Most of these cabins are used as second homes. A few are full-time family homes, and some are vacation rentals. All of these cabins have been included in past annual Steiner Cabin tours. These popular cabin tours are educational as well as a source of revenue to support the museum. And the two churches built by Henry Steiner? The St. John's Catholic Church was built in 1936. It has now been moved to private lands to accommodate highway widening. The Chapel of the Hills, a volunteer project built in 1947, was later destroyed by fire. To learn more about the Steiner Cabins, visit the Mount Hood Cultural Center and Museum in Government Camp, Oregon. Their website is www.mounthoodmuseum.org. And on Facebook, search for Mount Hood Cultural Center and Museum or Steiner Log Cabins.